So Yishai, in your book, The Jew on the Edge, you speak a lot about Franz Rosenzweig ideas in this book. He becomes kind of one of the centerpieces of this book. Rav Shagar isn't as present. Rabbi Nachman's not as present. Rosenzweig takes up the main.
Rosenzweig and
Rabbi Tzadok, yeah. So I want to ask you about, and you talk a lot about Rosenzweig's journey to Judaism, back to Judaism, being born Jewish, but almost converting to Christianity, and then making this almost radical change and coming back to his tradition. And you have this phrase that you love in the book, Ani nish'ar yefo Yehudi, I will remain a Jew. So I want to ask you a little bit, could you explain what is so meaningful about this phrase to you? Because you're very medayak, you really take it very seriously, the way he said it, not just, I'll fall in love with Judaism, I'll commit to Torah. He says, I will remain, nish'ar, from the word she'irit. Maybe can you explain a little bit about what that phrase means, and why is that really meaningful for a person to say, I'm going to remain a Jew?
Rosenzweig himself says that the hitbolelut is essential to Judaism. Assimilation is essential to Judaism because it remarks the Jews as ones that stay. It's something that in the state of Israel we don't really understand, but we could understand if we do a translation to Rosenzweig's saying on Judaism to religion. Meaning, the Chazara b'She'elah is essential to religious life because it marks the one that stays religious as that one that stays. Ani nish'ar yefo dati. In Israel, you cannot say Ani nish'ar yefo Yehudi. Or maybe you can say Ani nish'ar yefo Yehudi v'lo Israeli. But that's too complicated, that distinction between Yehudi and Israeli. But in the deep thing, להישאר, אני נשאר איפה דתי, is אני נשאר איפה יהודי. And to assimilate is להיות ישראלי. When Rosenzweig says that sentence in 1913, we can deal with a lot. What brought him to say that sentence? What was he involved in those weeks of debating if to convert into Christianity or not? Some people say that he really wasn't going to convert. Some others say he was going to convert. Why was he going to convert? Because he believed in the Christian dogma. Rosenzweig says himself that he never, ever believed in Christus. For him, he was always a Poshea Israel. That's how he... So why to be Christian? We can deal with that. The influence of his close friends on him, or his understanding of what is Judaism, his wrong understanding of what is Judaism. But then, in this debate, that again, it's very deep and very, and you need to do a good historical job to understand what those weeks of the summer of 1913, the spring and the summer of 1913, he says that if he goes to be Christian, he wants to become Christian as a Jew. He wants to to become a Christian as a Jew. So he goes to Berlin and davens there. He comes back to his house, does Rosh Hashanah, his things with his mother. He goes to Berlin and davens there in the Eastern European clois. And in Yom Kippur, and a few days afterwards, he writes to his cousin, Rudi Ehrenberg, "Ani nishar for Yehudi."
I will remain a Jew.
I will remain a Jew. That's not a good translation, but what stunned me, that he writes in that same letter and a letter afterwards that he doesn't know what's Judaism that he's going to stay with. How are you able to say, "Ani nishar efo," I'm remaining, if you don't know where you're remaining? He himself says, I don't know what it means to remain a Jew. He doesn't know what's mitzvot. He doesn't know what's Gemara, Mishnah, Halacha. He's totally assimilated. He knew Tanakh, but from a Christian point of view, as a Christian that knows Tanakh. Yeah, as a Christian that knows the Bible. He knew Bible, he didn't know Tanakh. He didn't know Rashi. And that really stunned me. This big person, smart, intelligent, no mystical illusion, no hitgalut, says, I'm remaining. Rosenzweig himself, as I see it, and as I show in the book, his thought after 1913 is an analysis of that staying, because he doesn't understand that nisharut, that's how I call it in Hebrew. He doesn't, what is that nisharut? Why is it that I did stay? Left over. Yeah, that's part of the nisharut, is to be also left over. As he says in Kochav HaGeulah, 6-7 years later on. So I walking with Rosenzweig, a lot of being a Jew in modern times, being a Yehudi in Israeli times, is doing an analysis to this mode of nisharut, this mode of remaining after, staying with.
Do you think it's similar to the idea of like a Holocaust survivor? You somehow survived, and you're here now. You're still here, a Jew, after all.
There is. I don't deal with it straight, face to face in this book, but this book came after Theology of Absence.
The reason I ask it is because usually someone will, with pathos, say, "I've committed to Torah. I've committed to dedicate myself to Judaism." But you are very excited in this book by Rosenzweig's statement, not I am going towards, but I am remaining. I've survived. I will stay Jewish. And why is that so meaningful to you? That's what I want you to talk about.
So the connection that you're doing between this nishar, she'erit, nisharut, to the nitzol, that remained nishar, v'chol zot kayam ve'omed, it's right. Like, that's what I dealt with in the first book. This remaining, or Anochi afar va'efer, as Rosenzweig writes in Naharayim, being an afar va'efer, being a Jew in a sense, is Anochi afar va'efer of Avraham Avinu, being willing to be afar va'efer. Dust that remains. Avraham Avinu, that is dust. Because Rosenzweig understands that situation in 1913 of his remaining in the mesamen Yehudi is not something that will change, meaning I will understand what it means to be a Jew and then this remaining will get into sense. That's being a Jew, the willing to stay with the lashon of hadat habzuya ve'amushpelet, the kuzari. The willing to stay. That is the heart of Jewish life. Or, in a different words, אין לי יכולת אלא להישאר. As the ניצול, אין לו יכולת אלא להמשיך לחיות. Now, why I'm saying that doesn't mean that this Jew / Rosenzweig won't have richness in his Jewish life, won't have episodes of fullness in his Jewish life. That doesn't mean. Rosenzweig is leaning towards that fullness. But Rosenzweig understands that that fullness is not the essence of being Jewish.